From NHL players licking and biting each other mid-game to taking out referees, these are the most disrespectful moments in NHL history. At first, we got Sidney Crosby forgoes the handshake line after winning Stanley Cup. Look, everyone likes Sidney Crosby, and I'm sure he didn't mean any harm by doing this, but it still happened. When the Pittsburgh Penguins beat the Detroit Red Wings in the Stanley Cup Final in 2009. A year after losing to them in the final, the two teams stood in line to shake hands, as they do at the end of every NHL playoff series. Crosby wasn't there because he was too busy celebrating with his teammates. Fans in Joe Louis Arena made sure Crosby heard about it. Nicholas Lidstrom, Henrik Zetterberg, and Mike Babcock talked about it afterward. Zetterberg said,
"It's one thing you should do after a series. You shake hands, and I don't know why I didn't do it. I think it's disrespectful. I don't know the reason why I didn't do it, but I hope I had a real good one."
Next is the incident about Adam Burrows sending a fan home with game-used Tanner Glass glove. Adam Burrows seemed like he was going to be a good sport when, after a fight, he picked up Tanner Glass's glove off the ice and gave it to the ref. Burrows kept skating toward the penalty box, but the official never got the glove. Instead, Burrows threw the gear into the crowd, making a lucky fan very happy. Mr. Glass wasn't happy that his glove was gone, which some people don't understand because he didn't wear them very often when he was on the ice. He started punching Burrows. If Burrows had given the mitt back to the ref, he would have avoided some haymakers and a spot on this list. Of course, who will not forget Sean Avery when he creates the Avery Rule? Sean Avery's creativity changed the game in Game 3 of the 2008 Eastern Conference quarterfinal between the New York Rangers and the New Jersey Devils. The annoying forward stood in front of the net on a power play. Instead of just blocking goalie Martin Brodeur's view of his body, he started waving his stick in front of Brodeur's eyes. The Rangers went on to win the game 4-3 in overtime after Avery scored on the power play. The NHL had never seen anything like this before, so they moved quickly to change the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. It includes players waving their hands or sticks in the face of the opposing goalie. The mistake is still called the Avery Rule to this day. Is it cruel to take out a referee as Curtis Joseph did? Curtis Joseph didn't mean to hit referee Mick Magoo. Still, he did because he was angry after the Ottawa Senators scored. In Game 3 of the 2000 Eastern Conference quarterfinal between the Maple Leafs and the Sens, Corey Cross, a defenseman for the Buds, pushed Daniel Alfredsson into Buds goalie Corey Joseph. This prevented Joseph from making a save and let Rob Zaminer score his game's second goal. Joseph was furious because he thought Magoo was getting in his way, so he threw his blocker, ran at him, and then tripped and took out the official. The Leafs lost 4-3 because Cujo got a 10-minute misconduct. If Joseph was right about what he thought, it might have given him more reason to go on his rampage, but he was wrong, and poor Magoo got the blame. Next is the craziest incident when officials go on strike thanks to Jim Schoenfeld. In Game 3 of the 1988 NHL Prince of Wales Conference Finals, the Boston Bruins beat the New Jersey Devils 6-1. Devils bench boss Jim Schoenfeld tried to blame the officials, especially referee Don Koharski, for his team's poor performance. Schoenfeld yelled at Koharski,
"You're crazy! You're crazy! You're good because you fell, you fat pig! Have another donut!"
among other things, during his rant. When the NHL decided not to suspend Schoenfeld for his rude behavior, the officials stood up for their harassed colleague and protested Game 4 of the series. So that the game could go on, the league had to find other people to run the game. These four officials, who didn't look like they knew how to skate very well, put on their yellow jerseys and started calling the game. Game 4 was won by New Jersey with a 3-1. There were 33 penalties called during the game. And there is this incident between Daniel Alfredsson and Scott Niedermayer, where Daniel purposely wires a slap shot at Scott Niedermayer. If Daniel Alfredsson was trying to make it look like he hit Scott Niedermayer by accident with a slap shot, he did a bad job of it. Alfredsson was about to throw the puck into the Anaheim Duck zone at the end of the second period of Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final between the Ottawa Senators and the Anaheim Ducks. This would have ended the game after 40 minutes. Instead, the Sens captain looked at the clock, saw that there was still some time left, changed direction, and threw a clapper right at Niedermayer. The Ducks got together and stood up for their captain, which led to a big fight at the end of the frame. Dustin Penner scored the game-winning goal in the third period to give the Ducks a 3-1 series lead. The game was tied at 2-2 after the first two periods. Have you ever bitten someone in a fight? Well, the next on the list is super funny. Alex Burrows bites Patrice Bergeron in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. The Boston Bruins and the Vancouver Canucks played Game 1 of the 2011 Stanley Cup Final. This set the tone for a very rough series between the two teams. Alex Burrows of the Canucks and Patrice Bergeron of the Bruins fought in the first period. Bergeron's glove was in Burrows' face, so Burrows bit it. Even though the broadcast crew said Burrows might be suspended, he did not get one. But the Bruins decided to find their way to punish Burrows, and Milan Lucic was the one who went after Burrows later in the series. In Game 3, Lucic cut Burrows to the ground after the whistle, hit him in the head, and then poked his fingers in Burrows' face to make fun of him. Everyone can lose their mind, as this one did. When the Flames start the fourth line against Canucks, John Tortorella loses his mind.
He pisses me off. It just...
On a Saturday night in January 2013, one of the most memorable hockey games of the last 10 years took place. Calgary Flames head coach Bob Hartley put Brian McGrattan, Ladislav Smeed, and Kevin Westgarth on his fourth line, and Chris Butler and Blair Jones on his depth defense as the starters for the game against the Vancouver Canucks. In charge of the Canucks bench, John Tortorella took this as a sign that Hartley was trying to start a fight. In response, he threw Tom Sestito, Kevin Bieksa, Jason Garrison, Kellen Lane in his first NHL game, and Dale Weiss over the boards. What happened? A fight in line to start things off. It didn't end there, though. Oh no, it had just started. After the period was over, Hockey Night in Canada cameras caught Torts trying to break into Calgary's locker room to get a strip off of Hartley. Tortorella couldn't get to Hartley because there were a lot of Flames players in the way. Still, the video of it all is unbelievable. Isn't it gross to lick people? Well, Brad Marchand licking people incident is really gross. This was very strange, and the fact that it happened more than once is a cause for concern. Brad Marchand, a forward for the Boston Bruins, licked or tried to lick his opponent more than once. Leo Komarov, Patrick Eaves, and Ryan Callahan are among the people who have been hurt. Many people need help figuring out why. Lastly, the incident about Todd Bertuzzi, who mugs Steve Moore, made banned from the game. This is, without a doubt, the worst thing anyone has ever done to a rival. After he hit Vancouver Canucks star Marcus Naslund in the head earlier in the 2003-04 season, Colorado Avalanche forward Steve Moore was a target. He lost the last 3 games of the season. Later in the season, Colorado and Vancouver played each other. In this match, Moore fought and beat Matt Cook. He scored later in the game, giving his team a 5-0 lead. After that, when Vancouver was behind 8-2 in the third period, Todd Bertuzzi followed Moore around the ice. Bertuzzi grabbed Moore's jersey and sucker punched him to the ground. Moore lay still on the ice until he was taken out of the game on a stretcher. He had several broken neck vertebrae, facial cuts, and a concussion. Bertuzzi was kicked out of the NHL for the rest of the season, including the playoffs. The NHL didn't change its mind, so the IIHF doubled down on its decision, and Bertuzzi couldn't play during the lockout in 2004-05. Moore sued Bertuzzi in civil court for the act, which led to an out-of-court settlement. Moore never came back to the NHL. Comment which you think was the most disrespectful moment in NHL history, and we might just feature you and that moment in our next video. But for now, click the video you see in screen to keep on watching NHL highlights. Comment, click the video.